Emefiele, yes, must answer. But Abdulaziz Yari must answer. Tunde for kitchen must answer. Baba must answer. The directors of the companies. So we have here Godwin Emefiele at the top of the ladder. We have Abdulaziz Yari. We have Ebenezer Onyeagu Zenith Bank, one of the banks used. We have Herbert Wigwe Access Bank, one of the banks used. We have Oliver Alawuba, UBA, one of the banks used. We have Abubakar Ahmed, Director, Biz Plus Consulting Limited. We have Niya Tumbi, Director, Biz Plus Consulting Limited. We have Wilson Omori, Director, Biz Plus Consulting Limited. We have Basharum Fola Ogumoyele. We have and others we are still unraveling. So you cannot prosecute Emefiele alone. Conspiracy is like a jigsaw puzzle. Each and every conspirator or co-conspirator must fit into the puzzle. $25.6 billion moved out of Nigeria by MTN through fake certificates of capital importation. Oh, NFIU will sit on billions of foreign currency under the auspices of not having certificate of capital importation. But they will now issue fake ones when they want to commit fraud. You look at it, what is the balance? Fellow Nigerians and the world at large, my name is George Ubo, Chairman George Ubo Whistleblowers Network. Today is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. I'm here to elicit certain details of information we have received, but I want to give a synopsis first regarding our dear country, Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria has been synonymous with corruption, and we have done our best in the public interest to bring it to the fore. But under President Buhari's administration, the evidence we have received and we keep receiving is monumental, unprecedented, mind-boggling. I am not surprised when I hear the present government talk about the severe paucity of funds. All Nigerians must be privy to what has happened and take action. It was barely 9 days ago that the Central Bank of Nigeria sent me approximately 15 kg of documents based on our request, our usual request. Of course, I posited in my previous videos that in the past, when such request was made, the previous, the former CBN governor Nephew would unleash the security agents to me. I was arrested and detained for 101 days, but that is not the issue here. Now, we've had evidence germane to $25.6 billion that was more of a collusion between MTN and Central Bank of Nigeria regarding the issuances of irregular or fake certificates of capital importation. And in so doing, $25.6 billion was fleeced out of Nigeria. That is the actual loss. The collateral loss, when you look at the underlying CBN Act, which calls for a fine of 10 times for any violator, anyone who violates the act that is a corporate body. So MTN, being a corporate body, is supposed to be fined 10 times. So it's $25.6 billion times 10 plus the original $25.6 billion. Now, that evidence has been with us since 2018. That evidence had to do with investigation conducted in 2016, and we have been fighting it. What we have now, documents signed by W.D. Gottring, writing MTN and MTN bankers, waiving, I'm going to read the letter actually. The letter states, request for approval to lift the suspension on the certificates of capital importation issued in favor of MTN Nigeria Communications Limited. Your letter dated December 19, 2016 on the above subject matter, the same year the investigation was concluded. We write to inform you that after a review of your submission, the suspension earlier imposed on your company in respect of remittances/transactions on equity-related certificates of capital importation is hereby lifted. Meanwhile, you are to ensure that you comply with extant regulations on all the transactions. This letter, as you can see, to MTN, checked to MD Citibank, checked to MD Stanbic IBTC Bank, checked another one to MD Diamond Bank, another one MD Standard Chartered Bank. Now, the poser here is, if you are lifting the suspension or waiving it, what happened to the $25.6 billion that MTN and the bankers were supposed to pay? In the same vein, the former CBN governor, Nephew, had written MTN and his bankers to pay $8.1 billion, slashing the $25.6 billion significantly. So, I would like the CBN, I would like Nephew to explain where either the $25.6 billion was kept or the $8.1 billion was kept. So if you don't have neither, how can you justify writing such letter lifting the suspension? We have evidence of all the foreign currencies sold under Godwin Emefiele, billions and billions of dollars. We are still reviewing, and we are going to come up with another video to let the public know all the shenanigans involved therein, because we are finding out a lot. We have here evidence of transfers of 1.4 trillion with a T, trillion naira from CBN to two companies linked to the former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari. Some of the transactions, you have 14.6 billion naira transferred 21 times in tranches, 21 tranches in a single day. Now, Nigeria has done well in setting up certain institutions to checkmate each other. We have an institution called Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, headed by Modibo. I was a proponent, or rather, when Nigeria was at the verge of being suspended by the Egmont Group, the group that supervises or under which umbrella all FIUs in the country, in the world operate. In the US is fintech. Nigeria was at the verge of being suspended in 2017. I was always on TV. And what is happening here is precisely the reason. Because NFIU has not lived up to standard. NFIU has refused to flag serious financial transactions. NFIU flags Yahoo Boys accounts and the peons, I would call them. But the serious, suspicious financial transactions, are not flagged. And that is what gets us to kleptocracy. Because a government that is kleptocratic or thievocracy, a government that is bent on cleaning up or mopping up the money in the system, you would have different agencies working together. And why do I say this? The companies used are the same companies that landed Abdulaziz Yari into trouble, Biz Plus and GSCL. The NFIU that is supposed to flag this transaction, even one transaction is supposed to be flagged. But for you to now move $14.6 billion 21 times in a day, that means NFIU is involved in this. And they look the other way. You look at the narrations, some of the narrations. You have Tunde for kitchen. You are sending billions and you are putting the narration Tunde for kitchen. Everybody, all Nigerians here on the homeland and in the diaspora knew who Tunde was in the villa. You have some narrations that say Baba. Now, I have not been fighting Emefiele because there is anything personal. We saw evidence. We wrote him. We went after him. But as more evidence is coming out, I'm going to call on the present government to imbibe the conspiracy law to fight this monumental fraud. And what do I mean by that? The Emefiele, yes, must answer, but Abdulaziz Yari must answer. Tunde for kitchen must answer. Baba must answer. The directors of the companies. So we have here Godwin Emefiele at the top of the ladder. We have Abdulaziz Yari. We have Ebenezer Onyeagu Zenith Bank, one of the banks used. We have Herbert Wigwe Access Bank, one of the banks used. We have Oliver Alawuba, UBA, one of the banks used. We have Abubakar Ahmed, Director, Biz Plus Consulting Limited. We have Niya Tumbi, Director, Biz Plus Consulting Limited. We have Wilson Omori, Director, Biz Plus Consulting Limited. We have Basharum Fola Ogumoyele. We have and others we are still unraveling. So you cannot prosecute Emefiele alone. Conspiracy is like a jigsaw puzzle. Each and every conspirator or co-conspirator must fit into the puzzle. And why I like the way conspiracy is defined in the US is that the co-conspirators may not know all of them. If Pablo Escobar in Colombia ships cocaine to Miami. Cocaine lands in Miami, sold. Some of the cocaine lands in LA, turned into crack cocaine. Both, everybody in that loop. Pablo Escobar, the person or persons that transported the cocaine, the bankers, the people that sold the cocaine in Miami, the bankers that stashed the money, the people in the ghetto in LA that turned it into crack will be part of that conspiracy. So, of course, the banker in Miami or the guy cooking the cocaine to crack in LA may not know Pablo Escobar, but they're going to find themselves on the same case because they all fit in that jigsaw puzzle. So that Emefiele sent money to Beast Plus and GSCL companies, he doesn't need to know all the directors. And he doesn't need to know all the bankers involved. But when you are prosecuting, when you are dealing with it in a conspiratorial way, all of them are in that loop. So that is what, of course, you're going to have the NFIU for looking the other way, because in my opinion, when crime is being committed and there is inaction, that inaction is even more than action. So for NFIU software, the software at NFIU that is supposed to pick up serious financial transactions and fail to pick up, in my opinion, the biggest of them all, to have 14.6 billion naira moved in one day, over 20 tranches. Now, if NFIU tells me that their system failed to pick that because of glitches or whatever, then something is wrong. So, when I received this document, picked up my calculator, calculated the transfers, and it got to 1.42 trillion. I thought about the future of this country, the future of my children, and this government. What was really going on during Buhari's government? Why did we have such loophole? And that takes me back to a document, a blueprint that I put together since 2008 when I attended the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS Kurujos. This is it. Proposal to set up Homeland Security Organization. It can be called any name. At the point I call it Integrated Technologies for Security and Anti-Corruption. It doesn't really matter about the semantics. What matters is the system involved. It's technology driven. If Nigeria does not accept technology-driven security solution system, that is, we are talking about financial security. What I see happening, even in this administration, if you have the same set of people in certain places, is going to be chaotic. Because let's face it, our financial sector is porous. The porosity or the vulnerability is what emboldens public servants. So until those loopholes are covered, we are not going to put a dent to this problem. When Colombia was faced with the drug epidemic, we knew what US did. Serious problems call for serious solutions. As I speak, our financial sector is still very porous, particularly when you have Modibo heading the NFIU. We have billions of dollars and British pounds, information I have, which will be the subject of another video, that came into this country. Modibo has sat on these funds. Now, my argument is simple. The NFIU is charged to do one or two things. The Egmont Group, when you receive funds inflow into your country, you are to swiftly transmit that as evidence if you deem it to be evidence. Say it is drug related, you transmit to the NDLA to aid in prosecuting the suspects involved. If it is for terrorism financing, you send it to the DSS. If it is purely financial crime, you send it to the EFCC. But asserting what I call perpetual dominion over such funds in itself is very wrong. You don't sit on the funds. Either you send the funds to the requisite law enforcement agency that has power over whatever crime you feel is being committed, or you release the funds to the owners. So, for Modibo not to do anything about this, I'm not surprised. Because as you say, you walk like a dog, you talk like a dog, you bark like a dog, you are a dog. His hands has been caught in the cookie jars in other transactions. Anybody that transfers money globally knows that when you transfer money to anywhere in the world, in the US, over $10,000, they're going to call you. So you cannot move, even within the US, you cannot move 14 billion naira from CBN to deposit money to commercial banks. And that is exactly what NFIU is supposed to do, to pick up these transactions, these huge volumes of transactions. Oh, they're quick to pick up the Yahoo boys and extort them. But when you have the powerful people in the government, a CBN governor, a sitting chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum, and then governor of Zamfara State, involved in this kleptocracy, certainly Modibo is going to yield. This is the problem we have in Nigeria. When the thieves are stealing with what I call aristocratic arrogance, the aristocrats. So don't give me this bull crap about Yahoo boys. These are the kinds of fraud we need to look into. 1.42 trillion naira moved within the country. 25.6 billion US dollars moved out of Nigeria by MTN through fake certificates of capital importation. Oh, NFIU will sit on billions of foreign currency under the auspices of not having certificate of capital importation. But they will now issue fake ones when they want to commit fraud. You look at it, what is the balance? We have a court order compelling Yari to disclose and publish. Judge Jibo Whistleblowers Network took Yari to court to disclose and publish in the public interest the whereabouts of 48 million barrels of crude oil stolen. The phrase stolen used in the court order. Stolen in Nigeria and stored in China. Again, aristocratic arrogance. Nobody can talk to him. That is the problem. The fact that even a Nephew that is detained, I have not seen any charge that even scratches the surface of the allegations we have. You are charging a Nephew for procurement of vehicles? When we have, where is that? We have been invited by the EFCC to come and adopt this petition, $25.6 billion. No, they're not going to go into that because of the people involved, which is going to be the subject of another video, because we have a lot of eminent Nigerians that were involved in the setup of MTN. I need to do that video and name those people too, because the MTN was actually giving birth in fraud. I mean, in law you say fruit of the poisonous tree. So the tree itself, MTN, was poisonous before it was even birthed, before MTN started operation. The funds used to set up MTN were funds sent abroad to tax haven and disguised and brought back. So it wasn't surprising that when they came, they continued from where they stopped.